Hi there, welcome to a brand new week and a brand new devotion. Today's devotion is called Eternal Security, and it's taken from Romans chapter 8, verses 28 to 39. In the closing section of his great treatise on the Christian life, Romans 8, Paul deals with the security of the believer. We are predestined for glory, verses 28-30. And we are preserved for glory, verses 31 to 39. God knows all about us. Nothing happens by chance. Paul says, we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to his purpose. Here we have a blessed assurance. Paul says, we know. We do not have to indulge in wishful thinking. God has spoken, and his word cannot be broken. We have, moreover, a basic assumption. God says all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose. All things work together for everyone, for better or for worse. All things work together for good for those who are his people and for those who are in his purpose. Jacob, the Old Testament patriarch, shows us how all this works out in the end. We see Jacob sitting in his tent, wringing his hands with grief. A great cry of despair breaks from his lips. Ever since he returned to the promised land, everything seems to have gone wrong. If any man was a man called according to God's purpose, Jacob was that man. He was back in the land, back to the place where God had put his name and where he had met with his people. But everything seems to have conspired against him. He had narrowly escaped being plundered by Laban, his unscrupulous father-in-law. He had purchased his peace with Esau at great price, even though he could not be sure that Esau might not yet be back for more, backed by his 400 fighting men. His only daughter had been seduced and disgraced, and his sons Simeon and Levi had wreaked fearful vengeance on the man responsible. They had put the whole family in peril. His beloved Rachel had died, and his dear Joseph had disappeared and was presumed to be dead, torn to pieces by wild beasts. Judah, the best of a bad lot, had disgraced himself. Now a famine is raging in the promised land, and keeping the family together requires that his sons go back to Egypt to buy more corn. Already his son Simeon had been detained in Egypt by the imperious Grand Vizier. Worse still, that despotic man had demanded that Benjamin be brought to Egypt as a hostage. Food is needed. The boys must go back for more, but they adamantly refuse to go back for more grain without Benjamin. All these things are against me, Jacob wailed. Little did he know that all things were working together for good. Joseph is alive and is seated at the right hand of power in Egypt. The Grand Vizier Jacob dreads. Simeon is living off the fat of the land in Egypt. Soon the wagons will be coming to bring Jacob to Joseph's side. As the hymn writer would phrase it, ye fearful saints, fresh courage take. The clouds ye so much dread are big with mercy and shall break in blessings on your head. Yes, indeed, all things do work together for good for those who love God and are wrapped up in his eternal purpose to bless his own. Dark as things may seem, there is another side to our circumstances, God's side. Not till the looms are silent and the shuttles cease to fly will God unroll the canvas and explain the reason why. The dark threads are as needed in the weaver's skillful hand as the threads of gold and silver in the pattern he has planned. Thanks for joining with me again this morning. See you tomorrow for another devotion.